Okay, I think I am good. So I'll just continue on. Sorry about that. So to give an introduction to myself, my name is Jasmine Vincent, and I am with the Canadian Red Cross. I am the Emergency Management Coordinator for the Fredericton and surrounding regions, as well as Woodstock. On my title slide, I had a photo of myself. Let me go back to that. Figure this out. There we go. And so because I'm sharing my screen, I actually can't use my I don't have a webcam on my computer. So I just wanted to put a photo of myself on there. I've been with the Red Cross now for 4 years, and I am excited to go through this presentation with you all to build your personal preparedness, as well as your capacity to respond to situations that may occur. So today's agenda is the following: how to prepare for a disaster, the 3 key steps to emergency preparedness, and what to do if a disaster or emergency occurs. So first of all, to give background to the Red Cross. The Red Cross, the Canadian Red Cross, is part of a international humanitarian network. So the National Red Cross Societies are part of the world's largest humanitarian network, the International Red Cross and Red Crescent Movement. This network includes the International Committee of the Red Cross, also known as the ICRC, the International Federation of the Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies, which is also known as IFRC. And in all of the countries around the world, there is a total of 192 National Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies. So the Canadian Red Cross started in 1909, and the Red Cross in Canada acts as an auxiliary to public authorities in the humanitarian field. Auxiliary means that we work alongside the government, but we remain a neutral and independent organization. So on average in Canada, the Red Cross assists 126 Canadians every day, and we respond to disasters every 3 hours. The role of Red Cross during emergencies. We offer trained disaster responders, registration and information, providing shelter and lodging, providing food and water, hygiene kits and comfort kits, and mental health and psychosocial support. And lastly, direct financial assistance. When you think about preparing for an emergency, do any of these statements sound familiar to you? There are many emergencies I just can't prepare for. Preparing takes too much time and money. I will never have to deal with an emergency where I live. And that is what the fire department and police services are for. These are common misconceptions about preparing for an emergency. We often think that others will be able to assist us or take care of us. And so today I want to send out the key message that anybody can prepare for a disaster. Just learning your risks, taking some simple steps will help just in case. So studies show that only 1 in 6 people will do something to prepare for disasters and emergencies, like learning the risk, making an emergency plan, or building a kit. Being prepared is thinking about the possibilities. Knowledge and planning are free, but our own fears may prevent us from considering hazards and their impacts. Today, while we talk about risk, know that each person has a very different context and situation. So consider if you live alone or with a family, if you have children or people who need additional support due to health and mobility issues, or if you live in a basement apartment or in a house. All of these factors and more will influence what you need to know, how you plan, and what you need in your emergency kit. Preparing helps us stay safe, adapt to challenges, and recover quickly. So we are going to have a scenario, if that works for everyone. I'm going to read out the first bit of the slide, and you'll have 10 seconds to respond. And this is a personal scenario, so you don't have to share with the group or anything like that. But this is what we're going to do. You're taking a nap in your bedroom when you hear a loud noise from the living room. You go to see what's happening and see fire coming from the kitchen. After several attempts to extinguish the fire, you finally decide to leave the house. So in 10 seconds, you're going to think of all the supplies or what you're bringing with you as you evacuate the house. So let me start my timer. And so you could do this in your head, or you can do this exercise on a piece of paper or on your computer. I'm going to set the timer now. And 10 seconds is up. It's not a lot of time. And some examples I've heard from the past is people are bringing their kids, their family members, maybe even pets, medication, car keys. Those are in, I've seen those as well. Me personally, I live in an apartment building, and so I will spend most of those 10 seconds actually going down the stairs and leaving. So I'm not really grabbing much. And in this presentation, you'll hear again and again that we need to look at our personal situation to make our plan. We can't have one plan that fits all of us perfectly, but we'll need our own personal plan to be best prepared. So being ready for disaster is easier than you think. You just need to remember 3 simple steps, which we will go into detail. 1, know the risk. 2, have a plan. 3, make a kit. The first is knowing the risk. Not every community is at the same risk for the same hazards. Understanding the unique hazards that affect the community where you live and work is a crucial first step in becoming better prepared for disasters. Disasters can happen anywhere to anyone and often happen without warning. It is a disaster if normal response systems are overwhelmed, people are hurt, property is damaged or destroyed. Help might not come right away. Know what to do so you're ready for anything. So it is important to know and understand the hazards and risks. A hazard can be natural, human-made, or technological, and it becomes a risk when it impacts people, possessions, and environments. So on this slide, we see many different forms of hazards, and you can try to I'll give you a minute to try for you to guess what each photo represents, and then I'll show you the responses. It's important to note that not every hazard will be what we see here in Fredericton, but I will show you the answers. Home fire, that can definitely happen here. Flooding, yes. Earthquake, we don't see. Hurricane, yes. Winter storm, we definitely see. Wildfire is something we do see, especially with all the trees in our province. Extreme heat, yes. Luckily, there is no volcano around here. Thunderstorms we see. Tornadoes we see actually closer to the border. So not necessarily a large tornado, but there are definitely tornado warnings. Tsunamis we don't see, and landslide could happen. So for example, flooding is a hazard that may occur due to winter events, such as spring thaw, or human-caused events such as a dam overflow. Flooding becomes a risk when a home or community is exposed. So a home may be on low ground in flood risk area, or it could be on a high ground further away from the water. The location of the homes change the risk. Vulnerability also increases risk. If your family has special needs, such as small children or persons with reduced mobility, this could affect your risk. Lack of financial resource to cover insurance or home repairs may also affect your risk. But most importantly, everyone has capacities to mitigate and reduce risk. You are here today to build your personal capacity by having knowledge, planning, and preparing. Other examples of capacities may be insurance, family, or neighborhood support. So in summary, risk depends on hazard, exposure, and vulnerability. We can reduce the risk by building capacities and resilience. Here is another exercise for you to reflect on, and it's risk in your community. So in the last slide, I went through all of the symbols and let you know what are risks for our general area for Fredericton. And so the two big ones I would say are house fires and floods. So we're going to think about how to best prepare for those, as well as other risks that could happen as well. So the major causes of house fire in Canada, number one is cooking. Grease fires are quite dangerous, or if you leave your stove unattended, what have you. There are other causes as well, such as heating equipment, arson, electrical, smoking, candles, clothes dryers, and children playing with fire. So if you do have a fire, get out and stay out. Follow your escape plan. Do not stop. If closed doors or handles are warm, use an alternate exit. Crawl under low smoke. It's important Two, to think about homeowners or renters insurance, because when a house fire occurs, the Canadian Red Cross supports families for up to 72 hours. And I'm not saying it's not a good support, because we definitely have helped a lot of families in the past using that. But if your home was affected by a house fire and major repairs are needed, 72 hours isn't much in the grand scheme of things. Homeowners insurance and even renters insurance, both of those have the option to cover you if you're displaced. So if you can't return back to your home, there's part of the insurance that will help pay for those costs. So like I said, I would recommend everybody on this call, and I tell my friends and family all the time, make sure you have those insurances, because they don't just cover the contents in your house, but they also cover you if something were to happen. So here are some tips to reduce your home fire risk. Know how to use the stovetop and oven in your home. Never leave anything burning unattended. Keep anything that can burn at least 3 feet away from heat sources and open flames. Install smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors, and do not remove the battery. I know when I'm cooking, my smoke detector will go off, especially if I'm cooking meat and the smoke that comes from that. But it's important to not remove your batteries, because that will mitigate your risk. Have an escape plan for your home and your workplace, and make sure to talk with the members of your household about fires, smoke alarms, and how to escape. Make sure everyone knows as well. Which leads on to the next. So, like I said, replace the batteries. Check to see if your smoke alarm is dusty, and ignore the third point. Don't test by blowing out a candle. Most actually have a button, like you see on the photo, that says push and hold to test. So that should help you know whether it's working or not. On to step 2, make a plan. So by creating and practicing a plan, your family, your household capacity is being built, and it keeps you all safe during an emergency. A plan does not need to be complicated. And today we will start to create one in a few minutes, but it's important that you finish it on after this presentation with your family, with your loved ones. So your plan should be personal. It is important that your plan take into account special considerations of children, elderly family members, or those with health and mobility considerations, as well as pets and animals. So for children, make sure you know that of their emergency plan for their schools or daycare, who to contact if an emergency does occur, and as well teach your children to know your designated person and how to contact them, especially if you're not available. For older adults and those with mobility issues, consider extra time to move people. Ensure that medication and mobility aids are available for your kids, and as well train caregivers about your plan. So this also includes short-term mobility considerations, such as injury, operation recovery, even pregnancy can affect your household needs. And lastly, think about your pets for your emergency plan. Sometimes, if you need to be evacuated, not all shelters accept pets. Of course, service pets are the exception, but consider where you'll put your pets, if someone will take them in, or if you have to reach out to local kennels to see if they will take your pets. So your plan needs to be specific to serve the unique needs of you and your household. Some important considerations for your plan. How will you evacuate your home and where will you meet? How would you change your plan if you were not at home, but at work, or at school, or even on vacation? Do you know where your important documents are? Have you written down critical phone numbers? What is your plan for communicating with friends and family? Have you tested your smoke and carbon monoxide alarms? Do you know of your community's emergency plan? And have you practiced your plan with all members of your household? And the third step of being prepared is to prepare an emergency kit. Other events might keep you inside for several days or longer, sometimes with limited access to the things you rely on every day. First responders may not be able to get to you quickly. It's worth it to be self-sufficient for at least 3 days after a disaster. Emergency kits come in all shapes and sizes depending on what you need. You can keep everything in one place, or at least know it's easily accessible in an emergency. So we'll go through 3 different types of kits. The first kit is a grab and go. It should help you and your family to be self-sufficient for at least 3 days if you need to evacuate. The size will be proportional to the number of people in your household, but should always be easy to carry. It should address basic needs for food, water, clothing, hygiene, along with other comfort items. It should be personalized to your needs, like medication, prescription glasses, food preferences, critical documents, ceremonial items, cell phone chargers and keys, and should contain utility items such as first aid kit, cash, flashlight radio, batteries, manual can opener, and pet supplies. So make sure that each member of your household knows where this kit is kept, and keep kits near your front door for easy access. The second type of kit is one you need to shelter in place. It should help you and your household be self-sufficient in your home for at least 3 days. So it could be because of a winter storm and nobody can go on the roads, or it could be similar to what we've seen during the pandemic. Kits should include warmth, food, and water. 4 liters of water per person per day is the recommendation. Non-perishable food that your family enjoys, warm clothes, and blankets. Use flashlights instead of burning candles if the power is out, and use gas or propane equipment such as barbecue or generators outside. Carbon monoxide poisoning can be deadly. And the last type of kit is a vehicle emergency kit. So storms can happen anytime, and you may find yourself in your car when a disaster strikes. It's important to check the weather before you leave and keep your fuel tank at least half full. So here are some examples of things to keep in your car. And keeping in mind, these are 3 separate kits to have. So in your car, water, food, blanket, extra clothes and shoes, crank or battery operated flashlight, radio, extra phone chargers, shovel and ice scraper, road maps, because phone signals could be out, GPS could not pick up anything, gloves, road flares, sand, salt, or kitty litter to help with the ice, windshield washer fluid, so extra, booster cables or battery pack, and again, first aid kit. So now when we think back at that first scenario, think about if anything changes when you, what you're grabbing. What are the steps that you're going to follow to evacuate your place? Is there anything that you're going to take with you that's different than what you first imagined? And how long that's going to take you to be outside in a safe spot? So all these big questions, right? We hope that these emergencies never happen to us, but it doesn't mean that we can't prepare if it does. So thank you for your attention today. You've gotten started by becoming aware of how to prepare for disasters and learning about the types of disasters in your area. So I would like to conclude with reminding you to know the risk. You should be able to say, I know which disasters are most likely to occur in my area. You can be prepared, so I have a disaster plan for my household and have practiced using it. And lastly, I have disaster preparedness kit. So below are different websites that list different items for the kits. There's resources on the Government of Canada's website, along with the Canadian Red Cross's website. And lastly, I do want to always let you all know that we are always welcoming new volunteers, especially in New Brunswick. We have so many different opportunities, which you can see by going on our website, redcross.ca/volunteer. And so there's opportunities to give back in community health. So the different medical equipment and emergency management. So actually responding to local house fires in your region. And we have a great program called Friendly Calls. We pair you up with individuals in your community who identified themselves as wanting more connections. So it could be 1 hour phone call once a week, and it's just to keep them company. So we've been seeing a lot of interest in that program. And like I said, all the information and even how to apply is on our Red Cross website. And that's it for me today. Thank you again for your time. And if there are any questions, I'd be happy to take them now.
Does anybody here have any questions? Uh, All right. Hi, Jasmine. I think we got everything we want to know. I didn't see any question in the chat box. So thank you. Thank you for your great presentation, and thank you for our interpreters, and thank you for our clients. Thank you for your time to be here. So I think if you have any questions, you can send email to me, and I will connect with Jasmine to find the answer and get back to you. Okay, it's just all for today. So let's wrap up. See you.
Thank you, everyone.